Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha and its brand new Halacha 4 units for Friday, 28th day of May, 17th day of Sivan. Today, a short, interesting Halacha about making Bori Nefashos at the end of your coffee. Let's back up. You know that you make a Bori Nefashos at the end of any simple eatings like a drink or anything that didn't have a mazonos or a hamotzi. Like if you ate a piece of meat or you had a drink or I don't know, any of those kinds of things. Now, Bori Nefashos is the bracha that you say at the end of that eating, but you do it only if you had a eating. What do I mean by that? It was a substantial amount of food, and I don't mean large. It just has to be substantial. You know, if it was a tiny lick of a lollipop, that's not enough to say a bori nefashos. It has to be officially what we call an olive size, but it doesn't look like the olives of today. It's like in drink, it would be about 3 or 4 ounces. Um, in fruit, it would be something like I don't know, 3/4 of an apple, roughly. I'm just making a loose guess. Those kinds of things. But if you have a little tiny you know uh, micro bite of an apple, that's not enough for a bori nefashos. If you have a tiny lick of a lollipop, that's not enough for a bori nefashos. Now you might say, well, who cares? Okay, so fine. So I made the bracha on the lollipop. I only had one little lick, so I don't say a bori nefashos. But we don't like it to be like that. We want to put ourselves in a sense of surety. I ate, I make a bori nefashos. I don't want to be in that middle ground where I'm in a gray area and I'm not sure. Might not be enough, so I won't say the bori nefashos. Oops, that's a problem because maybe I should be making a bori nefashos. But on the other hand, maybe I can't because it was too small. So we like our eatings to be distinct. You're having an apple, finish the apple. Then you'll see a nice bori nefashos at the end of it. Okay, with that backdrop, I want to get back to your cup of coffee. The thing with the cup of coffee is those of you who drink your coffee piping hot will have this problem. When your coffee is piping hot, you will have to treat it a little bit like the lick of a lollipop. You're going to take a tiny sip at a time, right? Because who can lug down a large amount of piping hot coffee? You burn your throat or your palate or your tongue. So what people tend to do is they just sip their coffee very small amounts. You might think, well, it still doesn't matter. I'm going to drink a whole cup of coffee, so I'll make a bori nefashos at the end of my cup of coffee. But the problem is that you never had a distinct amount of coffee, like 3 ounces or so, in one short moment. Like when you have a drink, then you make a bori nefashos. But if your entire cup of piping hot coffee was sip, sip, another sip, and another sip, then you never had like your 3 ounce moment when you drank a substantial drink. I know you did finish the cup of coffee, but you never had it in one kind of moment. And so you're not really perfectly eligible for the bori nefashos because you had a piping hot cup of coffee and you were taking tiny sips of it like tiny licks of a lollipop. So what do you do? How are you going to make a bori nefashos at the end of your coffee? The answer is simple. Towards the end of your cup of coffee, when it's probably not piping anymore, not piping hot, then you can lug down just the last 3 ounces of your coffee, and presto, then you're eligible for the bori nefashos at the end of that 3 ounce lug down. Same thing to you guys who just take sips out of your water bottle while you're exercising. When you finish your exercise, you might want to make a bori nefashos. So have like a little substantial drink at the end of that workout, a 3 ounce lug of your water bottle, and then make the bori nefashos based on that last drink, or make your bori nefashos based on the 3 ounces that you have at the end of your cup of coffee. Okay, that's the halacha we wanted to teach you today. Make sure that you have a drinkable drink, 3 ounces in a short span of time, and say your bori nefashos on that. Thanks for logging on. Have a great Shabbos. Log on again after Shabbos for more. Bye-bye.